What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with MMA community reacts to Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Dana White announced this week that Leon Edwards and Colby Covington would finally collide for a highly anticipated welterweight scrap later this year. After a period of much speculation, White himself revealed that the pair would be matching up at UFC 296 in December, officially ruling out the possibility of Conor McGregor returning to headline the final card of 2023. Immediately, the MMA community gave their thoughts on the situation, with Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier speaking in a video for his YouTube channel about the matchup.
Leon has improved leaps and bounds. It's one thing to fight a wrestler. It's another thing to fight a wrestler like Colby Covington. Love him or hate him, you have to respect that he is a tremendous competitor.
In addition, the MMA community was quick to share their reactions to the fight and the news that Donald Trump is planning to be in attendance at the bout. From the sounds of things, the outrage regarding Covington getting a title shot off a win over Jorge Masvidal over a year ago hasn't subsided much, with one fan writing, "The UFC is literally running the single most aggressive affirmative action program for Colby Covington the world has ever seen. Absolutely desperate to get a man who has proven time and time again that he's not championship quality a belt." Another fan agreed, writing, "Colby badass Covington, but how does he get a title shot when he fights once a year?" One fan broke down the math, addressing Covington's record as of late while referencing Tony Ferguson's infamous Dana White privilege line, writing, "Colby Covington is 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and one of those wins was over 3 years ago. Dana White privilege. Anyway, LFG Yuri." Another fan referenced the fact that the fight is seemingly holding up the division when fighters like Belal Muhammad, who have remained active, will have to wait for their crack at the belt, writing, "Covington has no business fighting for a belt. It's disrespectful to every welterweight that has fought their way to become a contender." Another fan responded to the announcement writing, "I knew Edwards versus Covington was going to be made, but now that it's official, it just annoys me even more. Dana White privilege strikes again." Despite that, the odds for the fight are incredibly close, with Edwards opening as a -145 favorite to Covington's +125 underdog status. With this fight on the horizon at the end of the year, only time will tell how things play out in the welterweight division. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Now, let's take a look at Michael Chandler will dominate Conor McGregor. Rafael Fiziev, who's gearing up for his highly anticipated clash with Mateusz Gamrot this weekend, believes that when the time comes for Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler to compete inside the octagon, the fight won't be very competitive so long as Michael Chandler is able to stick to his game plan. Ahead of what is expected to be a big return to the octagon in 2024 for McGregor, Fiziev believes that he simply lost focus. While speaking with MMA Fighting, Rafael Fiziev spoke about a number of topics, from his upcoming fight with Gamrot to a potential McGregor versus Chandler showdown.
You know, Chandler, Michael, I have same problem like him because he also have to control his emotions on the fight. He have to control it. I think if he start to control emotions, following game plan only, he's beat him. He's beat Conor because Conor he lose the focus. He's not Conor like 6 years ago, like 5 years ago. It's not this Conor. Just have to stay smart, have to stay cold.
The biggest question regarding the potential McGregor versus Chandler showdown is when the fight will take place. Although the expectation was that the two men would collide before the end of the year, it now sounds as though the UFC is looking ahead to 2024 for the Irish Star's return, leading many to wonder whether the two will compete at UFC 300. Next up, let's take a look at Bryce Mitchell makes bold claim ahead of fight. Bryce Mitchell believes that the UFC is sitting on a gold mine. They just don't know it yet. Ahead of his upcoming clash with Dan Ige this weekend, Mitchell spoke to media members to discuss his future plans.
So I don't think I'll have to call out no names, but I think there's going to be a realization that I'm the cash cow. I mean, that eventually somebody's going to realize that they're sitting on gold. They think I'm fool's gold. I'm not. I'm real gold. They're sitting on gold. They need to cash me out. I am the cash cow. There ain't another pay-per-view draw like me in this division. I am the cash cow. It's time to cash me out.
Mitchell had been undefeated throughout his professional career, leading up to his recent loss to Ilia Topuria last year. Although he considered retirement after the fight, he has since changed his tune and is eager to return to the win column after being forced out of a May showdown at UFC 288. The big question is, will he be able to return to the win column this weekend? Next up, let's take a look at Daniel Cormier talks Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. At UFC 295, former heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic will look to overcome the odds and defeat Jon Jones in a highly anticipated showdown. Although Miocic has been out for over 2 years now, Reports out of the Miocic camp are indicating that he's never looked better. Leading up to the fight on November 11th, Daniel Cormier spoke about the Jones versus Miocic showdown in a recent video for his YouTube channel.
Hey, I remember sitting at press conferences with Miocic, and he would say these things like that. Okay, doubt me. And he would almost smirk. Because he knew what most in the public didn't know was the way he was training, the way he was preparing, and his intent in the fight. Obviously, he beat me 2 times back to back when he was saying those things. He's one of the most dangerous men on the planet. But again, he's carrying that chip.
Of course, heading into the fight, many believe that ring rust will play a big factor for Miocic as he looks to return to the octagon in a big way after taking so many years off. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC fight updates. First up on the calendar, we have news of a fight between Ramon Taveras and Cortavious Romeus, scheduled for Week 10 of Dana White's Contender Series on October 10th, marking the final addition to the card. The bout will be Taveras' second chance on the Contender Series after a premature stoppage just 2 weeks ago against Surrey City. Next up, we have 2 fights added to an upcoming card on December 2nd, which will see Miesha Tate and Julia Avila collide in a bantamweight showdown. The bout will serve as Tate's big return to 135 after a disappointing loss to Lauren Murphy in her flyweight debut. On the flip side, Avila will be looking to return to the octagon for the first time since the summer of 2021, where she defeated Julia Stoliarenko. The card will also play host to a clash between Punahele Soriano and Dustin Stolfus in a fight that will see Soriano look to bounce back from a January loss to Roman Kopylov, while Stolfus looks to pick up his second UFC victory after going 1-4 so far since signing with the promotion following a 2020 Dana White's Contender Series win. News also surfaced this week regarding former bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw, who recently underwent surgery on his shoulder. The former champ took to Instagram to let his fans know that his 11th surgery went well, and although he'll be in a brace for the next 6 weeks, he's hopeful this surgery will be his last. Whether or not he decides to compete inside the octagon again in the future, only time will tell. Fighter breaks silence on arrest. Unfortunate news recently surfaced regarding embattled fighter Jason Mayhem Miller. As the popular MMA veteran wrote on Instagram, after getting out of prison, he's battled through problems in his personal life. However, now he plans to take a step back and focus on winning what sounds to be the biggest bout of his life. As part of a lengthy Instagram post where he explained that although he's a great coach, he struggled in his personal life, Mayhem issued an apology to those close to him who have felt the impact of his quote-unquote self-destructive behavior. Before signing off, Miller wrote, "More than likely, you've seen the sunny side of Instagram and figured Mayhem is a bit wacky, but doing great. I haven't. I've been doing horrible, and I realize that now, and I'm doing everything I can to change it. Thank you for your support, but I'm not reading comments. I'm going to work on me now for the good of my family. Sorry, I won't be into fight science for sparring tomorrow, or new ground jiu-jitsu for a while, but I have a bigger bout to win." As Miller looks to work on himself, it sounds as though he's got the support of the MMA community behind him. Although, as he explained in his post, he doesn't read comments from fans, making it difficult for them to express their support for the once popular star. When we hear from Mayhem next, let's hope he's in a better place. The MMA community is going off on Israel Adesanya for gaslighting Sean Strickland in his victory at UFC 293. After Sean Strickland won, Izzy told Strickland to stop crying and also had a warning for him.
Initially, I was just like, oh, good job. First thing I said to him, because he starts crying, I'm like, hey, stop crying like a b****. He starts laughing, and I'm like, hey. And then we talked about, other stuff. I was like, don't bring my family into this today. And he's like, I'm sorry. Changed his tune at the post-fight, though.
It seemed like a genuine moment, but some fans think it was him gaslighting Strickland. Because if the tables were turned, Izzy would have been roasting Sean and talking trash. In a recent YouTube video, Izzy said,
"Do you care who holds the belt?"
The belt's never mattered to me. Like, I mean, it does obviously, but like, how many times have I said it's just a fancy tiara that brings more money and this and that, rah. But I've gone to the level now that the belt's just a nice accessory. And I already got belts. I got many belts. I'm just gonna do it again, just for fun.
Here's what some fans had to say about the situation. Izzy's so trash, he just don't want to accept his got beat. Such a sore loser he is. This is some embarrassing coping, lol. Strickland's simply better than Izzy. Izzy laughed because he was embarrassed. If Hamzat gets near the belt, he'll never be champ again. Let me get this straight. A professional fighter got into a bout and took all those punches just like that because he couldn't believe his opponent could land those punches on him? Dana White gets exposed by 2 former UFC champions on how he manages fighters after they've been injured. Rampage Jackson and Tyron Woodley talked about how, when they told Dana White about their injuries sustained in their fights, Dana would then go on to the post-fight press conference and bash them. Here's what they had to say.
I fell out with Dana when I lost to Ryan Bader in Japan. You know, I got injured before that fight, and I called Dana right away. I said, man, I tore I got a partial tear in my meniscus. He said, what you gonna do? I was like, I'm still gonna fight. I want to fight, man. You know, it's Japan. And I lost by decision. First thing Dana do in the press conference, like, I don't know what's going on with Rampage. I don't think he has it. I don't think he wanted it anymore. And I was like, man, that's when after all that shit Dana did to me, when he did that shit, that's when I kind of got pissed at him. And like, I lost my love for fighting. After that, when I got injured, I started pulling out of fights. I said, this shit, because you don't get no respect. You fighting injured. And I let Dana know right away that I was injured. And for him to say that, this kind of made me look at him sideways.
Top comments. I still can't believe that Power Slap got sanctioned. People are getting hit in the head with no defense allowed. Conor literally has one win since 2017. Let's stop giving him attention. It's been a cakewalk for anyone fighting this clown. Sterling is right. Dana was positively glowing when he lost. Yuri against Alex is interesting. Someone is getting slept. Yuri is so aggressive and unconventional. Alex is going to catch him, or he's going to catch Alex. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.